Welcome to today's episode of Primility Primer, our morning reminder about the impact of balancing pride and humility as we go about our daily lives. I am Jared Morris, and this is episode 11. And we're going to try something a little bit different here in episode 11. And it's something that I'm going to call Real Talk Tuesday. And we'll see if it becomes a regular feature. Who knows? It may just happen once, but we'll see. But the main point of Real Talk Tuesday, we won't do it every Tuesday, but every now and then, is to come on here and basically admit to you guys, explain to you guys a goal that I feel like I'm falling short of, and do a quick self-assessment about why I feel like I'm falling short of that goal, what next step I can take then to get back on track for that goal, and of course, practicing self-awareness, not self-flagellation. This isn't going to be me beating myself up for not doing something. It's simple self-awareness saying, I want to be here. I think I could be here, but instead I'm right here. Why? What can I do next? And the goal here is not just for me to start and end the conversation, and it's not just to be me admitting all of these things. It's really to start a conversation, because I think there's something powerful that can happen with public accountability and with sharing with other people a struggle or a goal and what we're going to do next to achieve that goal. Because then not only have you admitted it to other people, which, a lot of times our pride kind of makes us want to then follow through a little bit more, but there can then be accountability with a group and support and people checking up on you and seeing if you're following through on it. And that's the kind of thing I'd like to get to. And so this is just to start a conversation, and then you can use the YouTube comments, the blog post comments, the Facebook group. Yes, there's a Facebook group, facebook.com/group/Primility, if you want to get into it. I actually just started it this morning. We can use that then to share this with each other and increase the accountability. So here's mine. We're going on vacation August 15th through the 18th. And I decided to use that point in time as a good opportunity to drop some extra weight that I've gained that I want to get rid of. And so I set a particular goal, and this was about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I figured I had 7 to 8 weeks to achieve this goal, and it's an ambitious goal. It's the kind of goal that was going to take some focus, some hard work, some discipline to do, and I'm not far enough along on that goal to where I feel confident now that I'm on track to reach it. And it's pretty simple why. It's because I'm not trusting in accountability systems that I set up. So there have been certain days that have gone where I've written down everything that I've eaten and tried to keep it under a certain amount of calories, tracked exercise, and tracked drinking water, because I find that when I drink more water, I eat less and I feel better, and it kind of goes together. Getting back to those gateway habits, drinking water for me is one of those gateway habits. Well, some days I don't do that. And it's funny because these days seem to come. It's like I'll string together 3 or 4 good days, being really disciplined, writing everything down. And then I get this false sense of security where it's like, okay, I got this. And then I stop doing what I did to get there, and then it falls off. So it's like there's this really productive balance of pride and humility, right? Where I've got this goal, I'm going after it, but I'm balancing it out with that humility of, okay, I've got to do these certain things. I've really got to keep myself in check. But then it's like over the course of 3 or 4 days, the pride starts to outweigh the humility. And I'm like, I can do this. I don't need to write down what I'm eating. I don't need to keep it under a certain level. Like, I've done this before. I can do this. I'll be fine. There's plenty of time out there. And then what inevitably happens is that decisions aren't quite as good. And one not quite as good decision begets another not quite as good decision. All of a sudden, a couple of days have happened, and progress that was made has deteriorated. And it's like a step forward and 2 steps back, or 2 steps forward and 2 steps back. And when you're trying to move toward a goal, it's very hard to achieve that goal if you're not constantly moving forward. And so for me, that's my Real Talk Tuesday. That is really looking at where I want to be and why I'm not there. And it's really simple why I'm not there. It's not like I'm incapable of doing it. I've had some really good days, had some really good progress, and I have made some progress. But to reach the final goal, I've got to make consistent progress. And I've identified this as the reason why I'm not making consistent progress. And so my one action to move forward is simply to maintain on a daily basis that humility of, okay, I've got to write this down. I've got to stick with this goal of just a certain number of calories. I know some people don't have to do this, and it's a little bit annoying, but it works for me. I know I progress when I do this. So let me unleash this power of accountability. Let me trust in this accountability system that I've set up, and that will help me move forward because I've seen it happen when I do it. I've seen what happens when I don't. Let me not try to think I'm Superman and that I can overcome what is a clear trend. Let's just trust in the trend. It's like this show, Primility Primer, right? This is episode 11. This is the 11th straight weekday that I've gotten up, and at 6:30, that green light has gone on, and we've done an episode. And it's had these great effects on the rest of my days in terms of a productivity standpoint. And the accountability of being here with a live show to broadcast has had all these other impacts. And that has been pretty easy for me to keep up with. That hasn't been, but this, eating right on a consistent basis, doing all those things to reach this goal that I haven't done as well on a consistent basis. And so need to put something in place, trust it, and that will help me to continue moving forward. So my question to you now is, what is it for you, right? If I were to turn this camera around turn the headphones around or whatever, the headphones turn into microphones if you're listening on the podcast and you're able to speak to me, what would be your Real Talk Tuesday admission, right? What is a goal that you have that you're moving toward, but perhaps you're not making as much progress as you want to? And what's the reason? Just from an objective standpoint, it's not about beating yourself up. There's nothing wrong with you inherently for why you're not doing this, but maybe you're just making a bad decision here or there, not trusting in some kind of accountability framework that you have. And the thing with this accountability framework is it helps us make decisions when we're weaker, right? Like I make great decisions early in the day. It's usually later on in the day when I don't make as good of decisions. And science has proven that we have a limited amount of willpower. I've read tons of articles on this lately where we have a limited amount of willpower and it depletes throughout the day. So that's just being human. But what always helps, the days when I'm really good are days when I've tracked my calories all day long. I've got this goal that I'm working toward from a daily basis. And it's like, well, I'm about to that goal. It makes the decision easy because there is no decision. And on days when I don't do that and there is a decision, sometimes the weakness wins out. And that's just being human. But I can put these accountability frameworks in place to help myself. So that's my Real Talk Tuesday. That's what I'm going to do to achieve this goal. And whatever yours is, again, post it in the YouTube comments, post it in the blog comments, or just write it down yourself. It's not something that you have to post publicly if you don't want to, but be real with yourself. Assess what the reason is. Are you being too prideful? Are you being too humble? Not enough? Whatever. And then figure out just what that next action is. It doesn't need to be some grand plan that will change the rest of your life. It just needs to be, what's one decision I can make today that will build positive momentum moving forward? And then hopefully that will put you on track for your goals. So this has been the first episode of Real Talk Tuesday. Hope you enjoyed it. If we get a good response, we'll keep doing it. And with that said, I wish you all a wonderful day. Thank you for being here. And of course, we go live at 6:30 every day, the live broadcast at primility.com/live. And if you can't make the live broadcast, the blog post and podcast are usually posted about a half hour to an hour after that. So we will talk to you tomorrow. And I wish you the best today, maintaining your balance of pride and humility as best you can. We'll talk tomorrow. Fist bump.